What is going on, guys? It is Daniel Wright, and you are here listening to another episode of Paving the Way. As always, happy to have you here. Guys, for those of us here in the United States of America, I hope you had a great weekend with family, friends, and anybody else that you love and appreciate. Celebrate Memorial Day weekend. As we all know, that's a weekend that we get to celebrate because others gave their lives for us to do so. So definitely want to thank all the people who have served. Who have family members or loved ones that they've lost overseas or due to protecting our freedoms that we get to have here in America. So just wanted to give that thank you to all those that are listening here. Hope you guys, like I said, enjoyed the weekend, enjoyed the freedoms that we get to have because of those who gave their lives for us. But this week, guys, I want to jump into a topic that's kind of been front of mind recently, just kind of getting into this year, getting things grinding, talking to some different businesses, different peers of mine, about how their businesses are going. And more specifically, it got solidified to talk on this topic. So I was talking with a friend of mine, Taylor Autrey from Arkansas Asphalt Solutions and down in Sheridan, Arkansas. And I was chatting with him, and we had about a 45-minute to an hour conversation. And he mentioned something just very briefly, kind of glazed over it. But he was talking about just how our company, Proline, has kind of been trying to pioneer some different things in our industry. And he was talking about the difference between being self-employed, being a business owner, and being an entrepreneur. And so I had him kind of send me a little bit of a breakdown of what his description was on that, because I told him, I said, I've talked on this before, kind of that difference between being self-employed and being a business owner. But he took it one step further and added on the difference between those two and an entrepreneur. So for those that are listening, if you are building a business right now, building a job, building a vision, a future, whatever it might be, this is going to give you some food for thought. So with that being said, let's get started. All right, guys, welcome back. Like I said, today I'm going to be talking about the differences, in my opinion, as well as Taylor's opinion and a lot of other business owners that I know of out there, the differences in business ownership. All right. And I'm going to preface all this with saying there is no one right or wrong way to build your business, your job, your future, whatever it may be. So this is really just food for thought of what you really are trying to build, what it entails, where it can take you, and what maybe some things are that you need to put in place to get from one stage to the next. All right. So the first level of business ownership is the self-employed business owner. All right. That's the person who wakes up one day and says, I'm going to start a pressure washing business with the pressure washer I have in my garage, and I'm going to go door to door and I'm going to sell pressure washing houses for $250. Or the person with the lawnmower, and they can put it in the back of their truck and go mow grass and charge, $50 a lawn that they mow. Or someone like me, a line striper who has a machine to go paint lines in a parking lot, and I'm going to go paint these lines, charge the person for it, and collect the money for the work that I did. You are self-employed, right? You're not answering to anybody. No one's signing your paycheck for you. You're not asking anyone for your time off, but you are the person who's generating all the revenue for your business. And there is a ton of business owners that I meet that are at this stage. It's the stage of business ownership when you're self-employed, that if you hop off the treadmill, if you stop doing what you're doing, the business stops. Phones don't get answered, invoices don't get sent, work doesn't get completed, repairs don't get made, whatever it might be. It's you are the business, and it's stopped, right? And so a lot of the business owners that go out and want to be self-employed, there's nothing wrong with that, because like I said earlier, no one else is signing your paycheck. No one's approving your time off. No one is telling you what you can and can't do or setting your work hours or things like that. But at the end of the day, if you get sick, if you need to attend a family emergency or your child's school event, or want to maybe just go take a couple days and relax at the beach, well, nobody's making any money. The business is not operating. And in some people's lifestyles, that's totally fine, right? They can work 3 or 4 days a week, make enough money, take 3 or 4 days off, and then come back and do it all again, so on and so forth. There's nothing wrong with it. But for the person who wants to actually build something that is bigger than themselves, that provides a living for other individuals, that can make an impact in their community, make an impact in the lives of the people who support them and jump on board with their vision and where they're trying to go. The next stage that you want to get to is the business owner, right? The person who they have, their name is on the tax return, right? My personal name is on Proline's tax return as the owner of the business. And at the end of the day, yes, I have a job that I do in the business. And in this stage of the levels of business ownership, oftentimes the business owner is involved in the day-to-day operations of the business, right? So for example, my job in the day-to-day operations is my primary job is sales. That's my primary thing that I do to help keep the business rolling day in and day out, is doing sales and estimating. However, I still have to wear the hats, such as in categories such as, payroll, finances, HR, systems and processes, dealing with clients, whether it's, issues we have to have for remediations or specific requests or whatever it might be. There's still things that I'm doing day to day. However, if I decide I need to go take time off, or I get injured, or I'm sick, or there's a family emergency, or whatever it is, there are people and systems and processes in place that continue to run and keep the business going, even though I'm not present. Okay. And so once you get into this stage of it, you're at that point where you've built yourself a little bit of freedom and a little bit of opportunity to kind of grow and think and expand on what else you might be able to do and what you're capable of, or your business is capable of. But nonetheless, you still have a primary role within your business day to day, that if you don't show up for a long enough period of time, it would be detrimental to the operations of the business. And the last step, the last level, I guess you could call it, you want to get to, is being that entrepreneur, right? So you're technically still self-employed, you're in the business doing things, but your mindset is very different about the tasks that you're doing. You're constantly thinking about how you can systematize this task, how you can set up a process and a procedure for more and more people to follow it and get the same results that you're getting. That you have a big, bold vision of where you're wanting to go and how you're going to get there, and what all the resources are that you're going to need to do it, the risks you're going to take, the opportunities that you have to be aware of. And you're constantly looking for where you can go, where you can take it, right? The self-employed person, they're paying the bills for the day. The business owner, they're paying the bills for, maybe a couple of months. But the entrepreneur, they're looking to create a lifetime of opportunity, not just for themselves, but all the people they can bring inside the vision they have for what they're wanting to accomplish. And I want to talk a little bit selfishly about this, because I really have gone through all three stages. Not gone through, I'm going through them. I'm at that business owner stage, and that I'm still needed day in and day out of the business. Well, most days. But I have a primary job that I have to complete in the business to make sure it's functioning properly. But the mindset that I have behind it is, how can we carve a new path in our industry? How can we create new opportunity for people who never saw the opportunity possible in our industry? What things can we do to make sure that we're duplicating the results time in and time out? So that way, if we bring a person in who is willing and able to be able to follow the systems that we have, follow the processes, latch onto our core values we operate by, jump onto the vision we have for the business and the vision and the mission that we're out to accomplish. If we can bring these people in and set them up for success, and they do all these things, well, then why do we have to stop with just right here in, just outside of Charlotte, North Carolina? Why can't we get into, Greensboro, North Carolina? Why can't we go to, South Carolina, Virginia, or Tennessee, or Georgia, wherever we want to go? Right? The vision is endless. It's as big as we want to take it. But the vision, like I just said, has to be there. It has to be bigger than just getting the jobs done right now, just getting the right now, right here taken care of. And so the biggest difference that you have between going from that business owner to the entrepreneur level is that you're locked in on how you're viewing the opportunity that your business has. So many operators and business owners and self-employed people that I see have such a gift for what they're doing, right? Whether it's in carpentry, whether it's in landscaping, concrete, pressure washing, you name it. They have an absolute gift that they have, that they're bringing to their industry and their market, right? They're a gift to the people who maybe work with them, right? If they're not just the self-employed person, where it's just them doing their business, and maybe they have a couple of helpers or a couple of people on their team, they're good business owners because they believe in what they're doing. They have a lot of passion for making sure that their business is the best. But where they get stuck is transferring to the entrepreneur, taking that vision that they have that's so good for their industry, for their market, for their team, for their clients, for their vendors, everybody who's involved in it, taking that vision and taking it 10 times as big, right? And I understand, like I said at the beginning of this, there's no one right or wrong way to build your business. If you are happy being self-employed and you get to answer to yourself, you don't have to deal with any people on your team and overseeing them or teaching them, and you get to make your own schedule and it pays your bills and creates your lifestyle you want, great. But don't forget, when you stop working, the business stops operating. The money stops flowing. The bills stop getting paid. So keep that in mind. If you're at the business owner stage, where you're still in it day to day, but you have a solid team of individuals around you that are helping get things done, but you have a primary role in that business, you have to really think about, is this something that I'm building for kind of me and the handful of people that I have around me? And it's more of what some people call a lifestyle business, right? It pays the bills you want to pay. It may provide you a couple vacations a year, put a little bit of money away in savings. You've got some systems and processes built. So if for some reason you came about a situation, you had to sell the business, you'd have some value to be able to sell. It's not just you being the business. But if you're really passionate about it and you really are doing it to change your industry, to make the impact in your market, to make an impact in the lives of the people around you, whatever your big drive is, what would happen? What would be the possibility if you switched on that entrepreneur mindset? What big, bold moves would you have to take? And what chances would you have to take? What risks would you have to take in order to expand this vision for your business into something that can impact so many more lives, that can help create a better name for your industry, or be that big player in your market to make an impact? When I was talking with my friend Taylor, I said, because he was giving us a compliment on our media and what we do for how we, basically how we post all of our stuff, right, on our company's pages. Which, by the way, I'm going to go ahead and throw this in right now. If you like following along on what we're doing here on our company at Proline, you can follow us along on YouTube, so Facebook, Instagram, all that. We drop new YouTube videos every Friday, so you can see exactly what we're doing, what I'm talking about, and why it matters. But he was talking to me about that. And he said, you guys are really trying to pioneer something in this industry. And he's only 18 months into his business in this industry. He's had other businesses in the past, been successful at those, and he's on to this venture now. And he's like, one thing I love about you guys at Proline is that you're really trying to pioneer and trying to carve a path into this industry for other people like himself. And it's funny because, the name Paving the Way here, that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to pave the way for other individuals to build the life that they dream of, and to see the opportunities and the possibilities that are out there that maybe in the past that they've never really been exposed this way. That there hasn't been somebody who's put an effort into making blue collar work sexy again, right? Making the trades attractive. I was just talking with a local business owner here in our area, in the Lake Norman area. They do electronics works on boats and cars and things like that. A lot of electrical work. And he said, he's just having a hard time finding, young individuals that are interested in doing this type of work. And I told him, I said, man, I get it. I said, it's about making this industry, making the trades sexy and attractive again. And I said, that's why we put so much emphasis on our media content and putting out there who we are and what we're doing and why it matters and what opportunities can be created for individuals who jump on board with us. I said, because if we don't cast this vision big enough and put it right in front of the people that we need to help us accomplish it, the young generations, if we're not doing that, then we're never going to show them what's out there. They're only going to see what mainstream media is putting out there, what the news is putting out there, what social media influencers are putting out there. The people who are the influencers making millions of dollars a year just by posting TikToks or whatever it is they're doing. Right? Not everybody's going to have that in their cards, but somebody can learn how to do a trade. A young individual can learn how to, assess and sell pavement restoration projects. An individual can learn how to, properly take care of, epoxy coatings or concrete floors or leveling concrete or crawl space, waterproofing and restoration, anything like that. All these things that we all need and use every day, they need to be put in a spotlight because it's what's going to attract the younger generations to come on board with this vision. And I know I got a little bit sidetracked here from the topic at hand, being self-employed, the business owner, the entrepreneur. But that entrepreneur is the one who's thinking like we are. The entrepreneur is the person who's trying to figure out how they can bring their opportunity that they're bringing to the table and bring it to as many people as possible. And they're building the systems and the processes and the scalability to bring more and more individuals into that pool, right? And so that's something that you should probably spend a little bit of time thinking about if you're building a business. Ask yourself, am I building a job or am I building a business? And if I'm building a business, do I want to build a future? Do I have a vision to cast to all those around me? Do I have opportunities to present to those who are willing to believe in what we're doing here? And am I willing to take the chances and take the risks of putting myself out there, being the spearhead, the pioneer, the person paving the way for others who can come along with me? Because those questions, without being answered, are going to cause you a lot of chaos and a lot of uncertainty in what you're doing. So you have to make sure that you're getting very clear on why you're doing what you're doing and where you're wanting to go with what you're doing. Okay? Because once you gain that clarity, your level of stress, your level of excitement, your level of ambition and eagerness to continue doing what you're doing becomes a whole lot more, a whole lot easier to navigate. I guess to put it that way. So nonetheless, guys, ask yourself, if you're out there right now, do you have a job that you just happen to have an EIN number, right? That you happen to, to be the person whose name is on the LLC, that if you stop working, the business stops operating, the money stops flowing. Are you a business owner that you have, 8, 10, 15, 20 people, but you're in there day to day, making sure things are running and they're still counting on you to lead the way every day? Or are you aiming to be an entrepreneur who's looking to make an impact in your industry, to leave a legacy, and to cast that vision so big that everybody who believes in it will be positively affected because of it? That's my challenge to you. As I said earlier, guys, check us out on YouTube. Follow along on the Proline social pages. Randy does a fantastic job at showcasing who we are and what we do. We're 157 episodes in on Paving the Way. And at the end of the day, guys, I couldn't come up with this much content if we weren't actually doing it day in and day out. So as somebody who is in the business owner stage, pushing to be that entrepreneur and pushing to grow and cast and scale and build something that can create a positive impact to all those around our industry, I challenge you guys to follow along, ask the questions, reach out. I got some more questions that came in, so we'll do another Q&A soon. But nonetheless, guys, I hope you're kicking ass. I hope you're having fun with this. And as always, appreciate your support. Have a good one.